Hello and welcome back to our podcast. My name is Sherman,
My name is Amaya.
and we're back for another episode. We have another topic. Well, it's the same topic, but it's a deeper dive into a different subject within the topic of passion. So, Amaya, we're gonna let you take the wheel. If you have any updates, first of all, it's only been a week, so how much could have changed?
Not much, so we can skip over the updates. I will say I'm going to call it Passion Part 2, which is just a deeper dive into more the love aspect of passion. And so I think I should start off with just like a general definition or kind of like what I believe that passion is, which is the first thing that comes up on Google when you Google the word passion is just a strong and barely controllable emotion. And I think that in regards to love, that is a great definition because whenever you've had like at least a fiery passion, that kind of like I really got to be around you, I really need you, and like you just feel it. I don't know how to explain it other than like the butterflies, but on fire in your
Mm,
belly. You just want to be around that person and it doesn't feel like you can control it. So that just kind of leads me into, we can do a deep dive into our dating history and kind of, the relationships that we're in now as a comparison and the things that we've learned and hopefully help all of you guys not make those same mistakes and don't let the passion get out of control. So I think, Sherman, you are in a 10-year relationship, if I'm not mistaken.
no, you're
10 might be
correct.
off.
No,
Yep,
no, no.
exactly
10
10
years.
years.
10 years, almost 11.
Woof, that is a long time.
It, uh, believe me, I know it is a very long time. And passion in a 10-year relationship, or I think anything, passion in general, it can either fade or it can kind of get stronger. And it just really
Mhm.
depends on the relationship and the connection you have with the person. So I think that for me, being in an almost 11-year relationship with passion is very it's a very interesting experience, and I'm more than willing to share. But like, um you said you wanted to start with past, or you want to just jump straight into the ones we're in right now?
That's a good question. I think we can start where we are now and kind of backtrack because we're going to get into the things that also can happen when you have passion and it fades.
um
So I'm going to guess that those past relationships is where it faded. But
okay.
I think it also in our relationships now, I can say, at least for me, I passion has come and gone and you have to work and get it there, but we'll get there when we
Yeah.
get to that point. So yes, 10 years in, do you have any tips or tricks to how to keep the passion alive?
Okay, so I'll just say this. For me and my relationship, and as long as it's been going on, I'd say that the tips and tricks that I use, because I can't speak for anyone else, but like just me, is like communication.
Hmm.
Um, Sometimes I feel like, from my perspective, you can feel when the passion is slightly starting to like fade. So for me, I went into kind of a fight or flight mode. I'm like, oh my God, are we falling out of love? Are we no longer into each other? Is this the end of it? You know, my passion, and I'm a very emotional person, it was very strong. So I went to the extreme. I was like questioning everything. I was like really
Hmm.
scared, like, oh my God, like, what am I going to do? So I started leaning into like, okay, we need to spend more time together. Let's switch up things and do something different. Try to be spontaneous. I try to stay romantic and do like little dates or
Hmm.
things like that. Um, I would say, like, for me and Justin loves routine.
Hmm.
Like, it's like Thursdays is dinner with family. You know, Fridays is like after work we every day we get dinner together, but like we don't go out. We'll just pick it up usually, and we'll just sit down
Yeah.
and watch TV in the house. You know, and then play video games for a few hours, and then go to bed. And then now, like, I kind of start feeling like, oh, I don't like routine, because routine
Hmm.
drives me crazy. I start feeling like I'm just stuck in like Groundhog Day, and the day is just repeating itself over and over again.
Yeah, I definitely get that.
So it's just a lot of fear and a lot of like, trying to adjust, and I was doing it wrong at first. When it first started happening, because it was the longest
Mm-hmm.
relationship I'd ever been in before that. It was like a year,
Yeah.
so I didn't know how to like rekindle the flame, and I don't really like looking to the internet or
Yeah.
podcast. Oh my god, as we're doing a podcast. When I was younger, I didn't like the idea of going outside of my relationship to find
Mm-hmm.
advice apart from family and friends.
Yeah.
So for me, it was hard. It was hard to adjust, but I think for me, it was just changing the routine up. That was my first idea at the beginning of the passion, feeling like it was trying to fade. Was like, let's change the routine up.
Mm-hmm.
For Justin, I feel like I can't speak for him, but based on his personality type and being around him for almost 11 years, he's perfectly fine with a routine and the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it was one sided of like the passion was fading.
Yeah.
So when I brought it up to him, he was kind of like, "What are you talking about? Everything is
Right.
great. Like we're still like we do this. We're in a
It feels
routine.
good still. Yeah.
Yeah." And so it was one sided.
I think that's actually an interesting point too, because we all feel passion a different way. And so like one person in the relationship might feel like it's fading and the other person's like, oh, this is fine. This is just normal everyday things. And so I think communication is a good way to get back and kind of figure out the everyone's feelings in the relationship and make sure that you're kind of on the same page or at least close to the same page. Um, and I definitely get that. I'm only 4 years into my relationship, and it is actually the longest relationship I've had, which is a little weird to say. Most people are like, okay, I date someone for 4 years and then I'll get married. And I'm like, yeah, I dated him for like 8 months and then we got married. And I will say that is crazy town. I don't recommend it to everybody. It just worked for our relationship. I met him and I knew it was right. And it wasn't just because of the passion, too. Like, you also want to say to be cautious and don't let passion overrule everything in your life. Because if I had let passion drive all of my other relationships, Lord knows where I would be. You have to also put some logic in behind it. And
Mm-hmm.
then once you have the love and care and all that stuff, then you can let passion drive a little bit. But I will say, don't let that be the driving force in a relationship, if that makes sense.
No, it does, which is interesting because when you was talking about that, that made me think about something. You've been with your husband for 4 years,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been in my relationship for 11.
Yeah.
Somehow, you're married, and I'm not.
You
And
said it, not me.
no, it's true. And that was the logic part. The passion
Yeah.
was there, and then after a year, I think, okay, so I'm gonna say this because
Mhm.
I like to be transparent and say some things, and I don't think I've ever told anybody this except for maybe you, but
Okay.
maybe I won't get in trouble for this. But I like to be transparent. I proposed first.
Mm-hmm.
I proposed first, and then I think it was like 3 or 4 years into the relationship, and then um, Justin was like, "I'm not ready." I had already
Mm-hmm.
brought a ring. I had everything. And he said that he was not ready. And I was like, logically speaking, we had been dating for 4 years, but it was a long distance relationship. We hadn't lived
Yeah.
together. We were just traveling to see each other.
Mm-hmm.
But my passion was just like, it's so strong. It's been 4 years.
Yeah.
I know this is my person. This is who I want to marry. This is who I want to spend the rest of my life with. So when he said no, it was devastating by all means. I'm dramatic. So
Oh,
I
I'm
was like,
sure. No, that's like world ending,
well,
earth
to be
shattering.
fair, he didn't say no. He said he wasn't ready. That was his words
But
exactly.
that's still kind of a
Yeah,
no,
it's
in my
still
opinion.
no. Yeah, no, it's still no. I agree, and it hurt, but like
Mm-hmm.
I understood once he explained like we hadn't lived together and we wanted to experience living together before that
Yeah.
point. And like I said, the passion in me was like, I'm gonna do this. I'm ready. Like engagement is just a sign of like, hey, I'm committed to you. This is the end
Mm-hmm.
goal. It doesn't matter if it takes us an additional 4 years to get married, but I want to go ahead and put a ring on it to show my commitment. And Yeah, that put me in a really dark place. And I told him to keep the ring because I was just like, at first I thought about it, but I told him to keep the ring anyway because I did love him. I did want
Mm-hmm.
to still marry him. It was just things didn't line up, and that was logic for me. It was the passion versus logic. I was hurt
Yeah.
because he wasn't ready to jump all in. Oops,
And you
but
were.
yeah, and I
Yeah.
were, but from his perspective, he was thinking logically, and logically, I was like, it makes sense not to get married when we haven't
Mm-hmm.
lived together and we haven't been in the same town. We're just always riding off of that passion of I haven't seen you in a week or I haven't
Yeah,
seen you
so
in 2 weeks.
exciting. And now you
Mm-hmm.
haven't had him for a while, so you want him and you don't know what it's like to be in it every day. And I will
Yeah,
say that is a very big difference. Like I can't even imagine going from like long distance relationship to married and living together all of a sudden. So I think that could have, if you had gotten married at that time, it could have created problems. And like now you're in it, you're living together and all of that stuff. So maybe there's plans for a wedding soon.
maybe. I don't know. It's been almost 11 years, and I think, to be fair, I'm going to be completely transparent and honest about my feeling. As time went on, I started to feel a little numb to the idea of marriage
Hmm.
because I felt like you see it in the movies, and I don't want to say it. I was brainwashed by movies, but it's like if you want someone and you feel strongly about someone and you feel like that's your person, then everything in you should be. I mean, after a certain point, like 4 years of being with someone, I'm just kind of like, okay, well, if you don't want to marry me, fine. We're in a long distance relationship. Then 5 years, then 6 years come, then 7 years come, then 8 years come. Then the whole time, I think around year six, I was like, if you're not going to propose to me, and we were living together at that point, what are we waiting for? What are we doing? You know, because
Hmm.
like marriage is what I want ultimately, and I get gay marriage is something new in America, so it's not something that's
Yeah.
been around for 50, 60 years. Um, that just, like I said, I became numb to it, and I just started being like, I just like the passion part of me was just like, why doesn't he want to marry you? The passion went from I want to marry this person, I want to spend the rest of my life with this person, I'm so happy to like, what's wrong with me? Why aren't you like wanting to marry me and be with me and start a like
Hmm.
even if we decided to start a family or not have kids, it was just like where's your passion? You're so logical
Yeah.
that are you passionate about me? And I can't speak for him. I can only speak from my perspective. I was in this crazy loop of like passion, I love you to passion, what's going on here? What's happening? Why aren't
Hmm.
you, feeling this way? Am I wasting my time?
Yeah.
But I don't feel like I wasted my time. I feel like for me, I jump all in. My passion is chaotic. It's chaos and
Yeah.
chaotic. I'll jump in. I would have been like you and Armin, not saying y'all love is chaotic, but I'm just saying like I'm the person that'll jump in and be like, I want to marry you. I want to be
Hmm.
with you. Let's make this happen. He was more logical, maybe.
Yeah, and see, and I think I'm like Justin in that regard because Armin was very passionate and like jumping in, let's get married and do all this thing. And I was just like, oh God, what if this fails? What if we have to get a divorce in like a year from now? And I'm like in my head and I'm thankful that I didn't let logic take over because there was many times where I was like, should I just call this off and just
Mm,
be like, can we date each other from afar? And I know he would not go for that. So I was just like, okay, do I take this plunge with a person that I know I love and I know that it could work with potentially? Or do I say, no, let's try to work something else out and then it probably definitely will fail. So I was like, let me just try it. I guess if I have to get divorced at 23, I don't know when I got married, but yeah, like if I have to get divorced at 23, so be it. It'll be a good memory for the books or something.
mm,
So, but I agonized over that decision for so long because a part of me is like, oh yeah, just do it because you're passionate. And then I'm like, what are all the other people gonna think? And I think I let the thoughts of what other people would think about me overrule my thoughts and what I would think about me. But in the end, I was like, I love this man. Let's just do it.
mm.
But
That's interesting. So, like, you feel like the passion is still there, even after
yeah,
marriage.
definitely.
My,
Yes, it's
my,
it's it's different and it's not quite the same. Like as the first date, like our first date, it was a lot. It was I had so much anxiety, but I was also so excited, and I really liked him. And I mean, I ended up getting sick because I had so much anxiety. I was
Oh my
like
gosh.
shaking with nerves, but we had had like long conversations on the phone, and we were texting a lot. And I was just like, oh my God, I really, really like this guy. And I was kind of like building it up in my head. And then when I actually met him, it was like, this is too much.
Aw.
And, we were going out and just doing things, and, the hot and heavy sex part of all of that, it's exciting. And 4 years into marriage, it's not exactly the same type of excitement, but we still do have that passion, and we still do like work on building it. Cause there's been times where we've both kind of like gone into depression mode, and our relationship takes a back burner, but we have a good way of like being a support person for the other person. Like when I'm going through my like depressed time, I'm just like really in my head and not being out there. He finds ways to like make me happy and excited. He'll bring me home chocolates and take me out to nice places, and make sure that my confidence is kind of getting up in some way or form. And then when he's down, I try to do the same things, and and we don't kind of let our feelings turn us against each other. And I think
Mm.
that's what's very important.
No, I completely agree. The feelings thing is very important. I and just to piggyback off of that with my scenario, and I'm making these faces, but pay no mind to the faces I'm making because they're like thinking and pondering.
You're
But
thinking, I can see
yeah,
the brain
but as
going.
you're talking, things are coming in my mind, and I'm just kind of like, oh my god. Like it's not that I don't know and I'm not aware that they're there, but sometimes things
Hmm.
just get pushed to the back of your mind. And
Yeah.
on the topic of marriage and passion, at the beginning of, like I said, at 4 year mark when I proposed, I was so excited about marriage. I
Hmm.
dare to say that at this point we've been talking about marriage close to almost 11 years now, and I'm actually scared of getting
Hmm.
married because it's just
It
kind of
is
like
terrifying.
because we've been together for so long and it seems like it should be like a given to be like let's just get married, but it's scary
Hmm.
to me now because it's just kind of like the difference in the time frame in between when I was super passionate. Like the passion is
Hmm.
not necessarily gone, but like you said, it's different. It's like
Hmm.
it's transformed because we're so used to each other. We've been living together for so long, so we've
Yeah.
experienced a lot together, and the passion is there, but it's not that 26-year-old crazy passion. Oh my god!
Hmm.
The first time I met Justin, I drove. I got off work one Friday, and we had been talking
Hmm.
online. We met on this dating site. Apps weren't a thing back then. It was a website, and we
Plenty
started.
of fish.com.
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Don't try to clock me. Anyway, we just talked, and first of all, I came across this profile, and it was completely filled out. And back in the day
Hmm.
on dating sites, people
Hmm.
fill out like the basic info part, which
Right.
just tells you a little bit about themselves. He filled out
He's given
every,
serial killer.
yeah, he filled out every part. Mind you, the night that I messaged him, I was drunk, and it was New Year's
Hmm.
Eve. So when I talked to him, and when he responded, like I was just so intrigued by this person.
Hmm.
So I got off work. I drove 2.5 hours to Greensboro, and I met him. I waited outside of his apartment. We had FaceTime by then. We had already talked. I've already Facebook
Yeah.
stalked him and
But it's
seen all
still
his
so
photo. Yeah, but
nerve-wracking.
it was that excitement of like, oh my god, am I meeting him? Am I meeting him? Okay, calm down. Do I look good? It was dark, so I don't even know why, because he probably wouldn't even saw much of me. And then he walked out, and I just remember him walking towards my car, and me like feeling so much anxiety, so much like excitement. I was just like, oh my god, he's real. It's happening. And it remained that way for so long. Like, of course, long distance split apart, and like you said, for
Yeah.
not seeing each other and then talking and seeing each other. So now I do feel like I am scared of marriage because I don't know. Like, I know it won't change anything necessarily because we've been together for so long. It's just a title
Yeah.
and just being recognized under the government and some additional benefits. Um,
Hmm.
but the passion is still there. It's just different.
Yeah. And then I think also, like, I think some people mistake the passion being so different and not feeling the same, like, giddy way that you did when you were younger or when it first started. I think some people take that as like, oh, maybe I'm not supposed to be with this person, because when you kind of look back into your other relationships, you look at it kind of with rose-colored glasses sometimes. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're like, man, maybe my passion with them isn't working so well, but what about this ex or this person and things like that? Like, oh, would it be better? But truly, as humans, we go through things. We not every day is 100%. And you're not probably not going to show up every day like you would on a first date. You're getting
Mm-hmm.
used to each other. You actually know this person, and you're not going to come in like, "Oh, I got to get all my hair, makeup, I have to be perfect and put on
Mm-hmm.
an act for this person to make sure that they like me and I like them and we vibe." So I'm like, so you have to also remember when you're looking back that it's not as good as it probably was, because there's a reason why you're not with that person now.
This is
So
true.
like you got to keep that in mind when you're like, oh, I need to look back on my life, because I can be honest and say that I've looked back and I'm like, man, did I give that person a fair chance? Like,
Mm. Did you?
and I think I did. Like sometimes I'm
Mm.
like, oh man, was I really mean to that person? But I think about how I was and what I wanted in my life, and those people were not giving me those things. Even if, one aspect of it was good, like the sex life, or they had a really good job and they had their life together, they had a plan, but then something else was wrong with them, they had real
Mm-hmm.
character flaws. So I'm like, I you have to stand firm in those decisions,
Yeah,
I
you
think.
Oh no, I agree. You have to have, like, people say you need to know what you want going into a relationship. I think that's
Hmm.
very true. As a Christian, my mom would always say, be very specific what you pray to God about when you want a partner.
Exactly.
Because if you leave out one thing, but they're everything else that you ask for, then that's on you for not being very detailed about what you want. And sometimes
Hmm.
passion can lead you blindly into relationships and scenarios with
Yes.
someone and be forgiving about something that's clearly a red flag, that's like a big red flag. And like you
Yep.
said, past relationships I've been in, did I give them a fair chance? Did I let them slide? Fuck yeah. I gave them a chance. And at the end of the day, I was the one that got hurt because I was so driven by passion only and not logic that I
Right.
was like doing things like my first relationship. I was working, paying my bills.
Hmm.
I was independent. I was single Sherman, living my life. Met this guy. He was a pothead, which is not
Hmm.
a necessarily bad thing, but his
No,
substance was
you had to have a
controlling his
balance. Yeah.
finances, and there was no logic. His passion was weed. My passion was him because he was dropping
Hmm.
me off at work and driving my car. Yeah, I was like, looking back on it, I'm like, oh,
Absolutely not.
I was like, that was dumb, Sherman. He was hopelessly first relationship, thinking that he had found a man in his dreams, and he was driving
Right.
my car. I was helping him pay bills, supplying him with his weed, and then I was just like, what am I doing? After he cheated, of course.
Of
You know,
course, of course.
I was like, what am I doing? Like, why am I giving this person this energy and all of my passion when he's not giving me the same thing in return?
Hmm.
And at a young age, not only was the passion there for like just the connection we had and it was so strong,
Hmm.
but it was also like the sex was good, so it also
Yes.
amplified the passion and made me a little bit more blind to a lot of things that I probably should have looked past. And
Mm.
that happened that was a reoccurring thing in a lot of my
Right.
relationships. The sex superseded a lot of the red flags that kept popping up. I was
Hmm.
letting the passion and the sex like take away all my logic, and that was the only thing I was focused on. So
Yes. Oh my God, that literally just like brought me back, because I did that too. I mean, I was with a guy who he did have a job and a car and all those things, and that was so nice. And that also pushed me forward. I was like, yes. And then we have that crazy passion. We would get together,
mm-hmm.
and it's the long distance thing too. So I was getting that longing. I'm like, I want to be near you all the time. And then, we get together, and it was like I had lose my brain, because all I want to do is be around you, kiss you, fuck you. And
Mm-hmm.
that's not sustainable. And then, of course, when I found out he was cheating multiple times, multiple different times too,
Mm.
I'm like, man, I just love you so much. Craziness in me. But yeah, I'm like, I just love you so much. And I can get over it because our passion is so great. But I was 10 times more invested in our relationship than he ever was, because like I was like, okay, I can if he just finally accepts the way I am and he finally stops looking at other girls, he'll want to be with me. And then we can
Mm.
get married and do all those
Oh,
things. And if he's doing that in the beginning, honey, he's gonna keep
no.
doing it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I really let that passion drive me and drive me off the side of a fucking cliff. So
Oh, wait, you
just
drove off a cliff?
no, I'm
Oh.
saying no, no, no. But I did end up crashing my car because I was like, I was that was like the worst month of my life. Like I think he had broken up with me or he had cheated on me, something around that time. But we were not talking. And then I crashed my car a week later. I failed one of my classes,
Oh
and
my God.
I was having a week. I'm not even joking. I crashed a car, and my first thought was like, how in the hell am I going to pay for this? My mom was going to kick me off of my her insurance. And I literally, for a second, contemplated just getting out of my car and letting another car hit me.
Oh my God.
Thankfully, I
That's
did not do that. It was a hard week, okay?
yeah.
I think I was also on my period, so the hormones were up there.
Talk about passion overload.
Yeah, that was a lot. And so, but thankfully, my logic came back in like, girl, you will get through this. Do not let this be the end. You cannot go out like this. And I'm thankful that that happened because, I ended up getting a new car shortly after that. And, I took another class and I passed and it was okay. It ended up being okay. Sadly, I did continue to date that man for like 2 more years after that.
Oh my
But
God.
eventually I woke up and
Mm.
I saw the light.
Well, that's good because you're in a better scenario where the passion is there.
So much better. I'm like, it is amazing what having someone who actually loves and cares for you, like how that changes everything. Like before, I was so passionate about that person. I'm pouring all of my energy and time into a person who's not giving me anything in return. So my cup is emptying and theirs is overflowing
Mm-hmm.
with all the love that I'm giving them. And now I'm like, I have someone who pours into my cup and I pour into their cup, and we're both just at a really good level, I would say.
You know the Jesus Christ, the example you just gave about pouring into the cup, that's
Hmm.
interesting because when I was in a when I was in a relationship a long time ago, not this one. Um, I don't want to say names because I don't want to put nobody out there.
I get that.
But like I've been in relationships where people were pouring into my cup,
Hmm.
right? So they were pouring what they thought I needed and wanted in a relationship into my cup.
Hmm.
But the problem was my cup was not accepting it because it
Yes.
wasn't the
You had
passion
the
and the
lid
love.
on.
Yeah, it wasn't the passion or love that I necessarily wanted. Where you can call it whether it was
Hmm.
immaturity, incompatibility. They just weren't giving me love the way that I like to receive it, and that's where love language is very important in a relationship and understanding how
Very
your partner
much.
likes to receive love. Because
Hmm.
sometimes people will say, "Hey, let me pour this love into your cup." Oh, gifts, buy you stuff,
Hmm.
pay your bills. When that person love language is affection,
Right.
passion, like affection, words of
Touch.
affirmation, touch, all of that stuff. And all you're doing is like, I'm paying your bills, I'm taking care of you, you should be happy. But you're like neglecting the way they like to receive love. So
Hmm.
you look at their cup and you're like, oh, it's full. And they're just like, my cup is empty. You're
Yeah.
providing the bare necessities, but I could work, I could pay my own bills. And you
Right.
think that's what I want, but that's not what
But
I
it's
want.
not.
And it's
Oof.
important to have those conversations with your significant other, like when you're in the passion stage, when the passion starts to fade. If you feel the passion fading, be upfront and honest, and make sure you communicate in a way where it's respectful and you're not like attacking them.
Yeah, you can't do it in the heat. Like if you're in the middle of a fight, you can't just
Mm-hmm.
bring up, you're not doing this because they're already shut down. They're in attack mode. They're not going
Mm-hmm.
to be able to absorb any of that. You have to be in a calm space to be able to absorb any type of criticism or critiques and things like that in your relationship.
And you also need to respect how people like to communicate in a relationship. So
Hmm.
for me, example, if I'm in a heated argument and I know my passion is high, I need to step away. Justin
Hmm.
likes to sit there and talk through it. And I'm like, no, you
Yeah.
don't understand. My brain is turned off to this because I'm angry. So the
Hmm.
more we talk about it, the worse it's going to get. Give me a moment. And not even talking about like a whole day or a week. I'm talking like give me a
No,
few
just like
hours.
5, 10 minutes
Yeah,
or
or
an
an
hour.
hour, or an
That's
hour.
it.
I like to go walk and listen to music, and then
I
like
get that.
get my mind right and think about it. Because if we're arguing and you're throwing your opinions out there, and some people might look at it and be like, "Well, that's immature," but that's just the way I process things. I in the
No,
heat
it's
of the
not
moment
immature
because I am
because
so
if you tell
emotional.
them,
Yeah,
yeah, it's not
because I'm.
immature. If you say, "Hey, I need to take a minute," I think that
Mhm.
is the most mature that you could be. You're not just getting up storming out.
Yeah,
That's where immaturity comes in. You have to communicate.
yeah. So like I said, knowing how to communicate with someone and knowing when to like knowing their love language as well as knowing how to communicate with the person that you're dating, and that
Hmm.
changes over time because people change. We're not stationary. We're always moving and evolving and changing.
Right. Whew, that is very important. I'm like in my relationship, that's what we have to do too. Like I'm very much I can talk, 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 and I can explain my point 50,000 ways, but I mean he needs that time to process. So I let him go and have his time to process, and then I write down what I need to do. Like I've sometimes he's gone out and I start writing like whole paragraphs, like, okay, this is how I'm feeling, this is how you made me feel, and this is how I think you could fix the problem.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna say it's exactly right, and sometimes we don't agree with the things that I come up with, but at least I got it out there. Like I had time to think out exactly how I wanted to say it, and to be able to say it in a nice way. Because sometimes I say things and it comes off as rude or mean, and even if I don't mean it that way, I have to kind of check myself and be like, oh, maybe he won't appreciate me talking to him like this.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, definitely matching the love languages and also giving them more. I mean, because pretty much everyone likes the whole range of love languages, but you should be trying to hit those top ones
Yeah.
more than the others. Because I've been in relationships where other people want me, like, they do gift giving, and that
Mm-hmm.
just really kind of makes me awkward. I do like it sometimes, but if you're just showering me with gifts, that's not giving me what I want. Because I'm a words of affirmations kind of girl.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you tell me I'm doing great, I'm smart, da da da, like, I need you to compliment me to get me there just a little
No, I
bit.
agree.
And so I'm like, it's felt like suffocating sometimes when, like, I remember I had one ex who would always send me like these huge bouquets of flowers, but he would send it to my jobs. And I did not
uh,
like that. That made me feel really awkward because then I have to tell people,
mm-hmm.
and it made me feel so awkward. I really don't like people being in my relationships like that, like, especially in a work level. I don't know. But
Yeah.
some people love that. Like, I know some people are like, oh my God, he sent me flowers to work. I'm like, give me flowers when I come home and tell me that I did such a great job or something like that. But bombarding me at work was not it. And then we would get into fights over him doing such a nice gesture. And I'm like, I totally get that. You wanted this to come off as nice, but to me, it was not right.
Yeah, that's the show and tell relationship, though. That's what I always
Mm-hmm.
say. It's just kind of like you want to show because you know somebody at work is going to
Right.
ask about, oh, seeing you those flowers. Oh, let me tell you, my man did this. It's like bragging. And I mean,
I
if
don't
that's your
like that.
thing, then that's your thing. But that's not for me. Like,
I
I
am not a
prefer to have it to
braggart.
myself. I rather have that private like, you know what? I'll do it. I say it like this. I like my relationships, and this might be a bad take. So sue me. I like my relationship to be like my religion. This is me and you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Not everybody need to know everything we do, how high our passion is, how low our passion is.
Right.
That's between us because at the end of the day, we're living with each other. At the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day, we go to bed, we sleep with each other, we live with each other, and we do everything together. So just because I'm sending you flowers at work, everybody thinking our relationship is peachy clean, well, why you send those flowers? Well,
Right.
what he do? Because it's funny, when I was at work and my coworkers got flowers, like,
Mm-hmm.
what your man do?
Exactly. And that is sometimes he was sending me flowers because he did something wrong. I'm like, oh, that is so exhausting. Because then what am I supposed to say when people ask? Like, that's just weird. I don't know. It's
That
not
goes
for me.
but it's the same thing though. That's the same thing though. Like a perfect example with current times is, well, let's
Hmm.
go back maybe 10 years when YouTube relationships were really big and there was all these
Oh,
YouTube
yes.
couples and stuff, and they would put
Hmm.
like they I would respect content creators if they were more honest about we had a fight, we had an argument, this is how we worked through it.
Right.
Not like, oh, we're gonna go do this today, we're going to dinner. Like 3 years of just
Hmm.
50 videos, 100
Perfect,
videos of just
rosy.
perfect relationship, never arguing, always doing something new. And then they break up behind the scenes, but they
Hmm.
stay together because they make money through their channel or their content. So, and I'm just kind of like, I think your fans would be more transparent if you would just be like, we had an argument, we sat down and we had these conversations, and we're at a better place. Relationships are not just all, Disney, but that's the front they want to put on. It's that fakeness. And it's just like, and I think that's why that trend died out on YouTube to a certain extent, was
Hmm.
because people started realizing these people was breaking up behind the scenes. They were lying to them. Like, you're lying to your
Hmm.
fans. So how true is your relationship when that passion dies out, but you're not willing to show the passion fade and how to rebuild it? You just kind of mask it as
Sweep it
passion.
under the
Yeah,
rug.
yeah. You sweep it under the rug and
Hmm.
just have passion through the entire time. And plus, to be fair with me, if me and Justin had a content channel and we were showing our relationship, and
Hmm.
like, I would be angry because, one, I'm not a fake person. I would
Yeah.
be angry if, like, we're like, oh, we got to make this video. I hate you right now, but oh my god, nice to see you, love you. We're gonna go do this
Hmm.
today. It's just like, come on.
No, that's too hot and cold. And
Yeah.
how do you know how someone truly feels? And then when you turn the camera on, it's just
Mm-hmm.
fake. You're just acting. And nobody really wants to do that when they're in a moment of anger.
Like, just be logical. I would, if any of those people that I followed, I won't say their name, on YouTube. There were several
Hmm.
couples like there. Oh, well, I will say there was I think it was Mark and Ian. I followed
Hmm.
them. They were a gay couple. They were the first YouTube couple I watched, and like, I really loved their content. They just, Ian seemed interesting. Mark seemed interesting. They went from long distance relationship to living together, and they were together for several
Hmm.
years. And then they broke up behind the scenes, and it's just like, people change. It's okay to break up, but like,
Yeah.
when you have a fan base or you create content and you claim to be as open and transparent, then it's not easy to say, well, I'm going to show you all my good times, but my bad times are kind of private and you need to respect it. It's like, well,
Right.
I thought we
Where
were
you let us
following
in.
you. Yeah, like, why let
Hmm.
us in if you're not going to show us all of you? And
Hmm.
I respect both of them, to the, like, name dropping them. I might as well just be like, I still respect them when they separated. I still watch Mark channel sometimes when he posts
Hmm.
stuff. It's not as entertaining because he's single,
Yeah.
because I was there for the relationship.
They gave
um
you hope.
yeah, it gave me hope that a gay couple could live together, and
Hmm.
and they were younger than me, so it's weird. I was watching these younger people have a successful relationship, and I'm just like, oh, I'll find me a man someday.
Well, you outlasted him already, so
This is true, but I ain't got that ring on my finger. I ain't married.
it'll come one day.
I know it will.
But yeah, I don't know. That reminds me of like I don't know if you've seen the first season of Love is Blind, but like Lauren and Cameron,
Oh
that's
my
like
god, no,
my thing too.
no.
And it was during COVID, the whole COVID relationship, and that's right when me and Armin started. And I remember I showed him Love is Blind, and he was watching it. We're both rooting for them. We're like,
Oh
oh,
my
this is so
god.
exciting. Thankfully, they are still together, hopefully
Mm-hmm.
happy. But I know if they break up, I will feel it just a little bit
Yeah,
like,
I think
oh.
everybody would ever listen. When the first season of Love and Blind came on, I was like, first of all, I love reality dating shows because it's usually a hot
Hmm.
train wreck. But for the first time after Mark and Ian, that was the relationship where I just saw. First of all, I saw Cameron, and I was just like,
God, you did it. You did it.
that ain't no normal man. That ain't no normal white man. He has some spice.
Hmm.
He was respectful of her culture. He understood as a
Yes,
white
he was willing
man.
to
Learn
learn. That is the most important thing.
the most important thing in a relationship is having the openness to learn about your significant other's culture. If you're going to date interracially,
Hmm.
as we both are in interracial relationships, is you
Yep.
need to understand your significant other's culture. You don't have to be
Hmm.
like gung ho, go to Africa and like join some tribe, but you need
No.
to understand the struggles as well as like
Hmm.
the things that they experience, because it's important to be on the same level, or at least have sympathy and understanding for where they go through.
Exactly.
And I would not date someone who's just kind of like, well, why's got to be black?
Right. Or that's not important. I don't need to know about it because you're not like that or something,
Mm-hmm.
like, and I've experienced that when dating other white people, and it's so disheartening, and like it kind of gives you the ick.
Yeah.
So
Oh
I've
no, it
I've gotten
does.
the ick in relationships when guys were like unwilling to learn, or they've said something that wasn't exactly racist, but it just rubbed me the wrong way. It was culturally
Hmm.
insensitive. It was something, and I was just like, "Ugh, no, that's not
Yeah.
okay."
And I'm sorry, but if you have to ask the question about your significant other's race or culture,
Hmm.
and you're asking them directly, but not in a way, or you're saying things like on the side that you don't even know whether it's offensive, then you might want to go educate yourself, you know,
Right.
on what it is. Like Black Lives Matter movement, when that happened,
Hmm.
I wanted to go out to one of the protests and make a flyer and something. And Justin went
Hmm.
and bought the flyers and like, let's make something and let's draw, what we want to say on it. And we went out there. Now I'm not
Hmm.
gonna lie, he was willing to stay out there the whole time. I was like, they get a good hour of my time and I'm gone. I got seen. I got heard.
Hmm.
I'm not gonna stay there for the riot. I'm not gonna stay there for no arguing and no fighting or no shooting. Not that it
Hmm.
happened here, but
Yeah,
that's
but
just
there was a
me.
possibility at
Yeah,
that time.
that was just me. It's like I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna let my voice be heard. I'm gonna represent and stand up for what I believe in. But I just like everything in my life, you only get so much of my time. And it wasn't just one event. I went to several events. I partook in
Mm-hmm.
other events that were happening. It's just for that particular scenario, I was like, you get an hour of my time. And it was hot. I'm not trying to, you know, I wasn't trying to get burnt.
Right.
But
That was a crazy summer.
it was. But but yeah, passion in a relationship is very important, as well as understanding how to adjust when that passion
Hmm.
adjusts as well.
Right. And, and I think also with passion and keeping up with it, things that people do can also affect how strong the passion is in a relationship. I think, once you let things like dishonesty or disloyalty seep into your relationship, then the passion kind of goes super quickly. And, I saw this study where they were talking about how they can predict if a marriage is going to end fairly quickly, like within an hour of working with these couples. And they all said the
Mm.
same thing. They said it's bids for attention. Like if you're sitting outside at a park and someone's like, oh, look at this bird chirping in a tree. If the other partner looks and they talk about it, that those little tiny moments, those tiny connection points, if they're willing to be focused in on something that you are interested in, that is a very good indicator that that's going to be a very strong and long lasting relationship. Where sometimes people are like, they're on their phones, they're not paying attention, they're doing something else, they're worried about other things. You have to be willing to be called back in and, be interested in the things that your partner is interested in.
I agree. That is an interesting take. You have to send me that study so I can read up on it,
I will. I definitely will.
because I would love for them to talk to me and Justin and let me know if our relationship going to end.
It's like, come on, look at us real quick. But and I always remind Arvino of that. I'm like, here, look at this thing. And he doesn't do it as fast as I would like. Sometimes I'm like, look at this. And he'll be like, okay, give me a second. And then he'll look. I'm like, no, you should look immediately. But I also have to remember I might not be the quickest to pull away from my
Mm,
phone
that's
sometimes.
true. I'm the same way though. Like it depends on what it is, and you have to have common interests. Like
Yeah.
you were saying. Sometimes when I'm talking to Justin, like I like having deep philosoph. I like my deepness runs from like deep conversations about the Bible,
Hmm.
even questioning it. Whereas Justin
Yeah.
is just like, we don't question the Bible. The word is the word. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, first of all, it's a book.
Yeah.
Second of
You
all,
can.
yeah, like I was like, is it the Hebrew version or is it the
Hmm.
King James version? Because they differ in
Hmm.
some context.
It's the
And
Old Testament or the New
like
Testament.
it's a whole bunch of things, and like, but I like having deep philosophical conversations about the Bible, whether aliens exist, the
Hmm.
flat Earth theory.
Right.
I know where I stand on them, but it's interesting to look at
Hmm.
other people's perspectives and then have conversations with your
Right.
significant other about those things, and whether you agree on them or disagree. I can disagree with Justin on something, and I'm perfectly fine.
Hmm.
And some people like religion is the we don't have those conversations. We don't talk about it. But I'm just like, well, if you're so gung ho in your faith and you're strong and you're passionate about it, then we should have those conversations. I should be able to
Hmm.
question certain things. You can give me answers, and then we can also agree to disagree on certain things.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying, like, my biggest thing, like I tried to talk to Justin about recently, was like, I'm confused. If Jesus has existed for so long, where's the rest of his life? We see him
Hmm.
get born, and then we just jump to him being an adult, healing
Right.
people.
Like
It's
what
like,
happened as a
what?
child?
Yeah,
Is he
like,
over here healing
why?
cows or something?
I was just like, if anything, this should have been a whole new book dedicated to his entire life and upbringing, but somehow his entire life as a child and everything else kind of just go by the wayside.
Hmm.
Now, I'm sure somebody might be like, well, I read the Bible completely, and it does mention when he was like a teenager or something, but I'm just like, he's the Messiah. He was the one that came back, to do all of this stuff. Why do we only get the pieces that are relevant for the story? You
Right.
know,
I mean,
but
but these are critical things that people
yeah.
can go back and forth about.
But that's what I like. That's what I like. I like having those conversations and getting those
Hmm.
opinions, and it's interesting because it's just. But I also like having stupid conversations, like whether aliens exist or whether what is it, like whether fate is real and your life is predestined,
Hmm.
or do you really
Right.
have free will over what happens in your life, or are you on some trajectory that's destined for you? And I like to have those conversations. And I feel like he likes to have those conversations sometimes, but his
Hmm.
always his always links back to like the Bible and Christianity, and
Yeah.
it's like, well, everything, God knows everything, and I was like, well, if God knew everything, I'm gonna need God to come let me know some of them answers before they happen, so I can
Hmm.
avoid certain things. And he might take offense to that, but I'm like, I don't mean it in a way of disrespect. It's a way of just saying. And my mom, listen, I used to go to church a lot. My mom and
Hmm.
dad would always to be like, pastors would come to my church and be like, God has a calling on your life. You're going to be a minister. You're going to teach the word of God. Not just one pastor said this. Several pastors and prophets and all these people that would come to church said it. And I remember one day my mama said it on Ask Me, and she was just like, when are you going to start walking in your calling? I looked her dead in her face, and I said, when God, when God speak to me directly, because you can send all the
Hmm.
messages you want, but I need to speak to the source.
Hmm. Well, maybe you could be a pastor. That could be your new
Mm-hmm.
passion.
I mean, it is
You
a lot of
teaching it
money
in a
in the
new
ministry, in the
way.
church. There's a lot of money in the church. I can afford a house in Germany, but no, I wouldn't do that. But one of the other topics that I saw that you sent me when you gave me the layout and everything was like you talked
Hmm.
about what kills passion, and I was curious about
Yeah.
your take on what could kill passion in a relationship.
I mean, I think it's just like definitely letting life get in the way or, someone giving you the ick. But for the most part, I say letting life get more ahead of your relationship because I think you have to just do things to keep up with it. Like when we're down, we try to go out to eat. I get dressed up and, I try to feel sexy because when you feel sexy and confident, you're more likely to be receptive of passion. And same thing for guys, I'm sure, when they feel nice, clean shaven, nice done hair and things like that, it gives you that confidence boost. And as humans, I think sometimes we need to be reminded of that in that we're, woman and man sometimes or man and man or whatever our
Mm-hmm.
parts want to touch basically
Oh
like
my
when you
god.
when you feel nice you remember you want those things and just going out and being free, having a glass of wine or a beer or something like that and um just breaking that routine. And so like if if you let life and your work and crisis, like sometimes it can be just outside things causing the passion to fade. It can be it's not even your partner. It could be that you have a medical problem or you have work problems or car problems, whatever. All the problems in your life, if you let them get it too far gone into your relationship, that is when passion is kind of gone. But you have
Mm-hmm.
to do things to get it back. Like, you could buy some lingerie or, play like games. Like I know there's like a lot of dating games. Like we have this one card thing where you like scratch off date ideas and then you can do them and it's fun and exciting and they give you fun topics to talk about and things like that. And so that could be a fun way to bring the spark back in.
I think the thing that kills passion, apart from dishonesty, which you mentioned earlier,
Hmm.
is the idea that passion itself can carry a relationship. I don't think that's true. Like, I think
No.
passion can be there, but I think you got to realize a relationship is work. Like you said,
Hmm.
you work, you pay bills, you have stresses, you have outside influences coming into your life, either to making you depressed, making you stressed, give you anxiety. You go through
Hmm.
different states and modes and feelings, and your significant other is there through all of them. But what you have to do, what you need to remember, is that it takes work in a relationship. It's not just
Hmm.
let me rely on passion the entire time. Sometimes when that passion does fade, you have to put in the work to get the passion
Right.
to rise to the occasion, to bring it back into your relationship. And sometimes, like you said, it's let's sit down and let's talk, let's do
Hmm.
date night, let's have fun, let's do that. But I mean, is it really ideal for a relationship for like you to just completely ride on passion? And I don't think so, because that passion will burn out, and then your relationship will inevitably, if it's just based on passion, will fade, because you can
Yep.
have good sex, but
But can you talk to each other?
yeah, but can you talk to each other? Can you, once the sex is over with, are you like, let's just go our separate ways?
And if it's all just sex and say that can carry you for 10, 20 years, what happens when you're old and you got a broken hip,
Mm-hmm.
and you got a flaccid penis? You got to be able
Erectile
to,
dysfunction.
right? Like, are you able to talk to this person? Are you able to laugh with this person?
Mm-hmm.
And you have to take those things into account. Like, is this truly your person? And I think if they are, and you feel that love just when you look at them, then I think the passion will always be there in some
Yeah.
way, shape, or form. Like I look at Armin's grandparents because they're like in their 60s or 70s. I don't want to age them wrong, but they're like really old and sweet, and they go through so many things, but they're always just laughing with each other and poking fun at each other, and
Mm.
it's so adorable.
That is cute. That's my mom and dad. They live, laugh,
Hmm.
and joke, and my dad is always joking on my mom, and they're just so happy, and I get jealous. And I always tell my mom and
Hmm.
dad, you cursed your kids because you took all the love for yourself. You took all of that and you just bottled it up and kept it amongst yourselves. And then you raised us in a Disney fairy tale household where y'all never argued. Y'all were always lovey dovey. And then we
Right.
went into the world thinking, on top of
That you're
watching
gonna
Disney
find that
Channel, that yeah,
immediately.
that it's just gonna happen. And then we meet people, and then we see conniving, sneaky, abusive
Hmm.
ways, and we think,
Dishonest.
and we still try to stay positive in Disney fairy tale, and we love you, so it doesn't matter. But we are not being logical and realistic. We're just riding off the
Hmm.
passion.
I
So,
mean, I was like, we should do a whole nother podcast on that. But I definitely think that they did it right, though. That's how I think if I ever have kids, that's how they're going to be in this, how they're going to look at us. Like, oh my God, my parents are fucking disgusting. All they do is make out and
mm-hmm.
they love each other so much. They don't even fight. And I'll be happy if that is how my kids look at me and our me, if
I'm
we ever
pretty
have kids.
sure. I'm pretty sure they will. Because when y'all used to live in America and y'all used to come to our house, I'm like, oh, oh my god, why y'all so on each other all the time? Love you. I'm going to the kitchen. I'll be right back. I'm just smoke. Let me give you a kiss. I'll be right back. I'm like,
Right. It's a lot.
girl. I mean, okay, that is literally the definition of when you and Armin would come over to our house, because me and Justin would just be like sitting for distant apart watching TV, and
Right.
Armin are like cuddling on each other, and I'd be like, what are y'all doing? Like, let them
Does
be
he need a
together for 10,
cuddle?
12 years. It'll fade. They'll just be like,
Hmm.
whatever. But
Yeah, don't
no,
touch me anymore.
no, we're not like that. I just think
No, but I get it.
it's
Because I
different though,
mean,
because for straight people, y'all can do PDA. Gay people,
yeah.
and being born in the South, there was always like worried about someone saying something or being attacked.
Hmm.
So we were a little bit more scared, and we need to do open another podcast on like the difference between passion and gay and straight relationships, and
Right. Because
just
it is different.
it is very different. A lot of stuff that we do is hidden behind closed doors, where y'all can be a little bit more. I mean, it's different now because I'm older, so younger people are being more affectionate, gay couples in public,
Right.
and then it
And
also
it's so
depends on where
different.
you live. Like you could be in a
Hmm.
city where being gay is common, so no one's gonna look at you. Oh my
But
god.
also, like, I mean, a lot of these young people, they're they become of age and like being able to like date and things like that when gay marriage was legalized. I think when you and Justin started dating, gay marriage wasn't even legalized at
Mm,
that point in time. So it's so different. And there was so many criticisms. And now, I
mm.
mean, I'm so thankful that the younger generation gets to experience a life where, you can live in your truth, but that hasn't been around for very long, at least in America. And
Yeah.
so um I think that it does play a difference in how you approach relationships and PDA and all of those things.
And I think that's another thing that happened in our relationship. We just weren't like, I can tell you right now, almost 11 years together, never kissed in front of any of my family members, never held
Mm-hmm.
hands, never did
Oh,
any of that.
wow.
And that bothers me sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But what we do is we put the comfort of
Yeah. Of
family,
other
of other
people
people
above
over
yours.
ours. Like we are always consciously making choices. Oh, are we making people feel the ick? Are we making people feel uncomfortable? And
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of sad, and that does kind of bother me a lot. But anyway, here
We'll
nor
save
there.
that for
Yeah,
another
we'll save
day.
that for another podcast. I'll write it down and I'll come up with a whole script about how we're going to talk about that. But um, passion, and we could just talk about bringing it back to close it out because
Mm-hmm.
it's getting close to time for me to go to work.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, what are your ideas on getting passion back in a relationship? You said some things like dates, and we covered
Mm-hmm.
other things. Do you
Yeah.
think?
And like, I mean, I don't know. I think for me personally, like I don't know, it just depends. Like I try to bring it back through like kissing and touching and things like that. And so, because I know men are more touch driven and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
or at least Armin is. And so, you know, sometimes I'll like cook his favorite meal and then, put out some nice music and make sure that we're just having a lot of conversation. And yeah, just it really does just come back to conversations because when we're having a good night and we're talking for hours and hours on end, then I know like we're coming back to one another because we're hearing
Mm-hmm.
each other, we're taking that time to be connected. So I mean, it looks different for everyone. Like some people I know they have to go and do activities and be out in the world and they feed off of that and then they come back to each other. But I'm like, I'm okay with just sitting at home in my PJs and we're just having 3 hour conversation about aliens and stuff like that. And so I'm like, but we talk for so long. And so conversation is our love language, which sounds weird because
No, I think
it
it's
is actual language, but we
yeah.
just love to talk to one another. And even though we know pretty much everything about each other, we still can have the same old conversations and it doesn't get boring.
And that's good. That's very good.
Hmm.
I want the conversation thing with me, Justin.
Yeah. But how do you guys do it then? If it's not conversation, how do you guys get your passion back?
So to be fair, we sit down and we watch TV.
Hmm.
Not gonna lie, we watch TV and we bond and we have conversations. Like right now, we've been watching the Desperate Housewives, and
Hmm.
we just sit back and we just. I lie to you not. Watching that show, I get so much shock and gag. I get gagged over everything they do on that show. So we just come together and we watch that show, and I think he enjoys watching my reactions to a lot of the stuff that happens on that show. And I'm just like, this is
Hmm.
stupid. Or like we'll like go on family trips, like have vacation and
Hmm.
spend a lot of time. We play video games together. That's like something we do. They can be toxic as well, but that's here nor there in another conversation. But we like to play video games, watch TV, embrace each other in the comfort of our home, in the secrecy of our
Hmm.
home. Um, yeah, and I mean, I think we like the simple things. That's what keeps
Yeah.
us going for so long. And on top of that, I think we understand each other's like icks when it comes to each other. Like we know
Hmm.
what pushes each other's buttons, and we try not to do that. Or
Yeah.
we'll do it when we want attention. Like I do things that it gets under his skin when I want attention because I'm just like I know you're gonna get mad. So how about you just
Hmm.
give me what I want, and then we both happy instead of just not
There you
giving me what I
go.
want, and then I feel neglected. I'm slightly needy, and I can accept
Hmm.
that. So
So you're like manipulating the game a
yes,
little bit.
yeah. I was like, let me have some fun, and I'm just gonna press this button
Hmm.
over here, and he's like, it's like we're in a control panel on a ship, and I'm like, let me press this button. He was like, don't press that button. And then I'll press it. And then he'll be like, I'm going to fix this. Don't press this button over here. And then I'm like, pressed. And then we'll like look at each other. He'll be like, what is it that you want? And I'll be like, I want cuddles,
There you
please.
go.
Yeah. Like, I could have said it from the get go, but I want to spice things up. So I'm going to
Of
do, we'll
course.
take a different
You
route
know,
to getting the
got to get
cuddles.
a little bit of attention before we get to the actual destination.
Agreed. But I'm glad you came up with this topic because we were supposed to do this recording yesterday and some
Yeah.
stuff came up, got busy,
Hmm.
and we postponed it. And so I decided to wake up at 6:30 in the morning so we can do this podcast.
Hmm. Now you can start your day off refreshed and feel like you got a load off your chest.
Yeah, that's an interesting choice of words, but okay.
Or, you just go throughout the day and think you had a really good conversation with somebody.
Yeah, we always have good conversations. I'm glad that you
Exactly.
became my permanent co-host because I've been looking for one
Me
for a
too.
while. So,
Well, it's
but
fine. I mean, I love to talk, so this is good.
this is true. We used to talk for hours when you came over. Is there anything you want to close out with?
Yeah, just, stay passionate, but also stay with logic.
Hmm. I will piggyback off of that and say yes. Passion and logic need to go hand in hand. You can have passion, but you also need to make sure that you incorporate logic to keep yourself protected, but also remain grounded and realistic. Because if you
Yep.
solely rely on passion, you will lose yourself in the passion, and
Mm-hmm.
logic keeps you grounded. And it's a
Mm-hmm.
good balance to have both.
Yes.
So I want to thank you guys for coming and listening to this other podcast. Well, when I say other podcast, this podcast
Part
about
two.
part two of passion. And I'm sure we just have other podcasts that sparked ideas for other podcasts
Mm-hmm.
from this one. So we'll definitely have those and more topics coming up. And if you want to hear more about love, let us know.
Mm-hmm.
You can. I'll link the information on the podcast website so you can send us any questions or comments. And we
Yeah.
do need to do random like reaction videos. I think we should do those.
Mm-hmm.
We could definitely spend a whole episode talking about Cameron and Lauren. But thank you
Yeah.
guys for
Thank you
listening
for
and
listening.
remember to vote and we love you. Bye.
Bye.